Déjà vu. Déjà vu is the strange feeling that a current moment has happened before, even though you know it is impossible. The term comes from French and means already seen. Almost everyone experiences déjà vu at least once in their life, and it is especially common in teenagers and young adults. The experience usually lasts only a few seconds, but it can feel incredibly real and convincing. Scientists believe that déjà vu is caused by a small error in the brain's memory system. When new information is accidentally processed as an old memory, the brain creates the illusion that the event has already occurred. Stress, lack of sleep, and mental exhaustion may increase the chances of experiencing it. Some people connect déjà vu with paranormal ideas such as past lives, parallel universes, or glitches in reality. However, there is no scientific evidence supporting these theories. Researchers have also noticed that people who travel more and have vivid imaginations tend to report déjà vu more often. Although it can feel mysterious or even unsettling, déjà vu is considered a completely normal psychological phenomenon and is an example of how complex and imperfect human memory really is. Jamais vu. Jamais vu is the opposite of déjà vu. The French phrase means never seen. It happens when a familiar person, place, word, or situation suddenly feels completely strange and unfamiliar. For example, if you write your own name repeatedly, you might suddenly look at it and feel as though it belongs to someone else. This experience is usually brief and lasts only a few seconds or minutes. Scientists believe that jamais vu occurs because the brain temporarily fails to recognize information that it already knows. Instead of feeling familiar, the information seems new and unusual. Researchers have found that repeating a word many times can trigger this effect because the brain becomes overloaded and temporarily disconnects the meaning from the object or word. Fatigue, stress, anxiety, and lack of sleep can also make jamais vu more likely. Although it may seem disturbing, jamais vu is usually harmless and is experienced by many healthy people. It demonstrates that recognition and memory are not perfect systems and can occasionally malfunction. The phenomenon is fascinating because it reveals that our sense of familiarity is something actively created by the brain rather than an automatic and flawless process. Derealization. Derealization is a psychological experience in which the outside world feels unreal, dreamlike, or artificial. People often describe it as if they are looking at reality through a glass wall, a fog, or a movie screen. The environment remains the same, but it no longer feels emotionally real. During derealization, objects may appear blurry, unusually bright, too large, or too small. Familiar places can suddenly feel strange and unfamiliar. Some people also experience changes in their perception of time, making minutes seem like hours or vice versa. This condition is commonly triggered by severe stress, anxiety, panic attacks, sleep deprivation, or traumatic experiences. In some cases, it can occur alongside depression or other mental health conditions. Despite the strange sensations, people experiencing derealization usually understand that the world has not actually changed. Many individuals experience short episodes of derealization at least once in their lives. For others, the episodes may last longer and become distressing. Treatment often focuses on reducing stress and addressing underlying anxiety. Derealization shows how deeply our sense of reality depends on the brain's ability to process emotions, memories, and sensory information correctly. Liminal spaces. Liminal spaces are places that feel transitional, empty, and strangely unsettling. The word liminal comes from the Latin word for threshold, meaning a place between one state and another. Examples include an empty school hallway at night, a deserted shopping mall, an abandoned playground, or a hotel corridor with no people around. These locations often create a powerful emotional reaction because they appear familiar but somehow wrong. The human brain expects certain places to contain movement, sounds, and other people. When those expectations are broken, the environment can feel eerie or dreamlike. Many people describe liminal spaces as nostalgic, as if they remind them of forgotten memories or places from childhood dreams. Others experience anxiety, loneliness, or a sense of being disconnected from reality. The internet made liminal spaces extremely popular through photographs and horror stories, especially the concept known as the Backrooms, where endless empty rooms create feelings of confusion and isolation. Liminal spaces are not a psychological disorder, but they reveal something important about human perception. Our brains are deeply uncomfortable with environments that exist between the familiar and the unknown. False awakening. False awakening is a dream in which a person believes they have woken up, even though they are still asleep. The experience can feel incredibly realistic. Someone may get out of bed, brush their teeth, check their phone, or begin their normal morning routine, only to suddenly wake up and realize that none of it actually happened. Sometimes people experience multiple false awakenings in a row, creating the disturbing feeling of being trapped inside a loop of dreams. Because the dream closely imitates reality, it can be difficult to tell the difference between being awake and still dreaming. Scientists think false awakenings happen when the brain enters a state between sleeping and waking. Parts of the mind become alert, but the dream process continues. They are often linked to stress, anxiety, irregular sleep schedules, lucid dreaming, and sleep disorders. Many people report that false awakenings are accompanied by strange details, such as clocks displaying impossible times or rooms looking slightly different from reality. These small inconsistencies often make the dream feel unsettling. Although false awakenings can be frightening, they are completely harmless and relatively common. They demonstrate how realistic dreams can become and how easily the brain can temporarily blur the boundary between reality and imagination. Time distortion. Time distortion is the experience of time moving faster or slower than it actually does. Everyone has experienced it at some point in life. A boring class may feel like it lasts forever, while an enjoyable evening with friends can seem to pass in minutes. One of the most famous examples happens during dangerous situations. People involved in car accidents or extreme sports often report that time appeared to slow down. Scientists believe this does not mean the brain actually speeds up time. Instead, the brain processes more information during moments of fear, creating the illusion that events lasted longer. Time distortion can also happen during periods of intense concentration, known as a flow state. When people become completely absorbed in an activity, they often lose track of time entirely. Stress, anxiety, depression, fatigue, and certain neurological conditions can also affect time perception. Some people with anxiety feel that unpleasant moments last much longer than they really do. The fact that time can feel different depending on emotions and circumstances shows that our internal sense of time is not a perfect clock. Instead, it is a psychological experience created by the brain and constantly influenced by attention, memory, and emotion. Out-of-body experience. An out-of-body experience (OBE) is a sensation in which a person feels as though their consciousness has left their physical body and is observing the world from another location. Many people describe seeing themselves from above, as if they were floating near the ceiling or watching their body from a distance. Out-of-body experiences have been reported throughout history and appear in many religions and spiritual traditions. Some people experience them during meditation, near-death experiences, severe stress, or moments of extreme exhaustion. Others experience them while falling asleep or waking up. Scientists believe that OBEs are connected to a region of the brain called the temporoparietal junction, which helps create our sense of body position and self-awareness. When this area temporarily processes information incorrectly, a person may feel separated from their body. Because OBEs often occur during near-death experiences, many people interpret them as evidence that consciousness can exist independently of the brain. However, scientific studies have not found proof that consciousness actually leaves the body. Even though an out-of-body experience can feel incredibly real and profound, it is generally considered a fascinating neurological phenomenon rather than a supernatural event. Déjà Rêvé. Déjà Rêvé is a rare psychological phenomenon whose name means already dreamed. It occurs when a person experiences a situation and suddenly becomes convinced that the exact event had previously appeared in one of their dreams. Unlike déjà vu, which creates a general feeling of familiarity, déjà rêvé involves the belief that the moment was specifically dreamed about before it happened. Some people even claim they can remember details of the earlier dream and feel as if they predicted the future. Scientists suggest several explanations for this experience. Since humans have thousands of dreams throughout their lives, it is statistically possible that real events will occasionally resemble scenes from past dreams. In other cases, the brain may incorrectly connect a current experience with vague memories of dreams, creating the illusion of prediction. Déjà rêvé has fascinated psychologists because it combines memory, dreams, and the feeling of precognition. Throughout history, many cultures have viewed such experiences as evidence of prophetic dreams or supernatural abilities. Although the experience can feel mysterious and meaningful, there is currently no scientific evidence that déjà rêvé allows people to see the future. Instead, it highlights the remarkable and sometimes confusing way the human brain stores and retrieves memories. The Backrooms feeling. The Backrooms feeling is a modern internet phenomenon that describes the strange emotional reaction people experience when looking at empty, repetitive, or oddly familiar places. It became popular in 2019 after an image of a yellow, empty office space was posted online with a fictional story about accidentally falling out of reality into an endless maze of rooms called the Backrooms. The feeling is difficult to describe because it combines several emotions at once. People often report a mixture of nostalgia, loneliness, anxiety, and confusion. The rooms seem familiar, as if they have been visited before, in a dream or childhood memory, yet they also feel completely wrong and unsettling. Psychologists believe this reaction is connected to liminal spaces, transitional environments that exist between one place and another. Empty hallways, abandoned offices, and deserted shopping malls can create discomfort because the brain expects such places to contain people and activity. When those expectations are broken, the environment begins to feel unreal. The backrooms feeling also plays on a deep human fear of being trapped, isolated, and unable to escape. Although the backrooms themselves are fictional, the emotions they evoke are very real and reveal how strongly our minds react to strange and unfamiliar environments. Alice in Wonderland syndrome. Alice in Wonderland syndrome (AIW) is a rare neurological condition that causes people to experience distortions in perception. It was named after the famous book Alice's Adventures in Wonderland because the main character frequently changes size, much like the experiences reported by people with the syndrome. Someone with AIWS may suddenly feel that objects around them are much larger or smaller than they really are. Their own hands, legs, or head may also appear to change size. Distances can seem distorted, making objects appear much farther away or much closer than normal. Some people even experience changes in their perception of time, feeling as though everything is moving extremely quickly or very slowly. The condition is most common in children and often occurs alongside migraines, viral infections, epilepsy, or periods of extreme fatigue. Episodes usually last from a few seconds to several minutes and often disappear with age. Although the experience can be frightening, AIWS is usually not dangerous. Scientists believe it occurs because certain areas of the brain temporarily process visual and sensory information incorrectly. Alice in Wonderland syndrome is a remarkable reminder that our perception of reality depends entirely on how the brain interprets the world around us.